Hello once again, fellow Star Wars enthusiasts. Let's embark on another thrilling adventure in the vast galaxy far, far away. Uncovering the lore of the mysterious ones is what's on today's checklist. The ones are entities that are considered to be one and the same with the Celestial Force and have remained a thing of mystery and admiration among fans for quite some time. They made their unforgettable debut in the Star Wars Clone Wars animated series, where we were offered a peek into the darker and deeper secrets which constitute their epic saga. The ones have always fascinated Star Wars fans with their supernatural abilities, hidden intentions, and their role in the universal upkeep of the Force. So let's set out on this adventure together and unveil the mysteries that surround the ones in the vast and cryptic Star Wars universe, including their powerful and iconic historical background. So grab your lightsabers and buckle up. It's time to uncover the celestial mysteries of the ones. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. The birth of a galactic legend, from Celestials to the Ones. A very long time ago, way back in history, there was these powerful entities known as the Celestials, who used to run things as they saw fit. In popular legends, they were said to be almost like space architects, in the sense that they could manipulate the structure of the entire universe. But here's the thing, they could do all this because the Force, that mysterious thing which gave all the Jedi and Sith their superpowers, ran through their very core. The Force was like a bloodstream that ran through the Star Wars galaxy, and it was responsible for the creation of the universe. With the Force in their hands, it seems like the Celestials decided to play something akin to a game. They became flesh and blood, or rather flesh and Force, as a family known as the Ones. There were three of them, the father, the son, and the daughter. They emerged from a mystical geyser on some tropical paradise planet. Initially they were living the dream, all peaceful and harmonious. But you know how it goes, rules were made to be broken. The father told his kids never to sip from the font of power or take a dip in the pool of knowledge. Of course, curiosity got the better of them. The son went all in on the dark side after a sip from the font, while the daughter embraced the light side after a plunge in the pool. They became the living embodiments of light and dark, like the yin and yang of the Force. People call them the twin deities or simply spirits, as per the Night Sisters religion. As if that wasn't enough, they started dueling it out in the jungle, and the father played referee. But the family drama didn't end there. They brought in a mortal called the Servant, who eventually became the mother. She worried about growing old, so she drank from the font and took a dip in the pool, turning herself into a Force-powered immortal. But it backfired big time, transforming her into the ultimate dark side menace known as Abeloth, the bringer of chaos. Talk about a family tree with some twisted branches.
Some call us Force wielders.
The father. Now let's talk about the big shot of the Ones. The father, also known as the Keeper of the Balance. He was like the family patriarch, but with a cosmic twist. His gig was all about playing referee between his kind-hearted daughter and brooding son, and it wasn't just for fun. He had a heavy-duty job of making sure the Force stayed balanced, and the universe didn't go haywire because of his offspring. Things got complicated when his mortal companion, known as the Mother, took a nosedive into the dark side and became the infamous baddie Abeloth. So, what else could a father do? He felt it was the appropriate time to take a family vacation far removed from the world of mortals. So he packed his bags and took his family to Mortis. Now back in the Clone Wars timeframe, the father learned that the Chosen One had been identified, so he decided it was time for a meeting with him. When the Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Ahsoka Tano dropped by Mortis, Skywalker had a little meeting with the father in his celestial monastery. The father had a test lined up for Skywalker to see if he was actually the real Chosen One. And guess what? Skywalker aced it like a pro. So the father popped the big question. He asked Anakin whether he was willing to take up his job as a peacekeeper on Mortis. His time as a being of flesh was coming to an end, and someone had to keep the balance of the Force in check. Tough break for Skywalker, right? But that's how the story goes in this wild Star Wars universe. The daughter. Now let's talk about the daughter, also known as the Winged Goddess. Quite the title, right? She was a go-to representative of the good old light side of the Force in the One's family line. You see, she had this thing where she took a dip in the pool of knowledge, and that little swim granted her all those sparkly light-sided powers. But here's where things go south. She and her brother, the Son, weren't exactly a happy family. They liked to throw punches and not in the friendly sibling way. The poor father had his hands full trying to play referee between these two. Now, when the mother turned to the dark side and turned into the force of chaos, Abeloth, the daughter, and the son realized that they needed backup, so they teamed up with some interesting folks, the Killiks, especially the Third Hive. They did a hive mind thing, sharing their force magic and knowledge to build some serious cosmic gear, like Centerpoint Station and Sinkhole Station, all to create the Maw, which was like a super prison to lock up Abeloth for good. But why? To make sure Abeloth was gone forever, of course. After that drama, the daughter and the father relocated to Mortis with the son. It was kind of like a cosmic retirement plan, where the father could keep an eye on them and make sure the Force stayed balanced. But oh boy, when the Force's current got wonky and time went haywire, Abeloth saw her chance and escaped. She was all about causing trouble. Wars, chaos, you name it, and feeding off the fear, death, and destruction she created. So, our dynamic duo, the daughter and the son, would team up with the Killiks again and send Abeloth back into her cosmic cage. Rinse and repeat. This cycle kept going on for hundreds of thousands of years. Talk about a cosmic roller coaster, right? Let's dive into the darker side of the Force. The son. He was like the embodiment of all things, shady and chaotic, living with the rest of his family on the cosmic playground of Mortis. Like the rest of them, he had his nifty trick where he could shapeshift into a winged creature, showing off his deep connection to the Force. Now here's where things get juicy. The son and his sister, the daughter, they weren't exactly besties, as we already know by now. They had a feud that would make even the worst of enemies turn green with envy. It was like a sibling rivalry turned up to 11. And it pretty much mirrored the epic struggle between the light and dark sides of the Force. The son, though, had this itch to break out of Mortis and wreak havoc in the galaxy. But Daddy Dearest, the father, had other plans. He was all about keeping his kids on lockdown on Mortis, where he could play referee and keep the Force in check. But then, during the Clone Wars, the son saw a golden opportunity when the galaxy was in turmoil with the Republic and Separatists fighting it out. Anakin Skywalker, the big shot chosen one, showed up on the scene, and the son thought of this as his ticket out of there. Talk about stirring the pot in a galaxy far, far away. How did they come to the planet Mortis? Now let's unravel the wild tale of this young woman who stumbled into the realm of the Ones, a real cosmic twist in her life. At first, she played the role of the servant during the whole catering and obeying thing for the Ones. But as time passed, she got herself a promotion to the role of mother. Now here's where it gets interesting. This seemingly powerless mortal mother managed to pull off a miracle by patching up the rocky relationship between the daughter and the son. She even convinced the embodiment of the dark side, the son, to put his destructive talents to good use in their cosmic home. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. But alas, she was still mortal, and time awaits for no one. She got all wrinkled and frail, and that's when the trouble started brewing again. The ageless children, the daughter and the son, went back to their old fighting ways, and neither the mother nor father could break it up. Then came the fateful day when mother decided to sneak a sip from the font in the middle of the courtyard brawl, just like the son did earlier, and took a dip in the pool like the daughter. Dad tried to save her and yank her out of the Force, but it was game over. Mother transformed into the ultimate troublemaker, Abeloth, the bringer of chaos. Abeloth didn't waste a moment before giving her kids a terrible and cruel lesson, forcing them to bow down to her dark powers. That's when Daddy Dearest had to step in to save the day. He whisked the family away, leaving Abeloth stranded behind. Now the daughter and son weren't about to let their mum turn nightmare turn the universe into her playground. Then, as we already know, with the help of the Killiks, they created the Maw to lock up Abeloth for good. After that mess, they moved to Mortis to maintain their peace. But wouldn't you know it, whenever the Force's flow got wonky and time went haywire, Abeloth saw her chance and busted out. She went on a galactic rampage, causing all sorts of chaos and thriving on fear, death, and mayhem. So the daughter and son would have to team up with their Killik pals every so often to throw Abeloth back into her prison. Talk about a never-ending cosmic soap opera. Anakin's arrival and the One's demise. Now let's talk about the time when the Father summoned the Jedi team Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ahsoka Tano to see if Skywalker was actually the chosen one. As the prophecy had foretold, the son, on the other hand, was not having any of it. He believed that this was the perfect time to get rid of his loving father and flee. So he whipped out the dagger of Mortis, aiming to take his dad down. But before he could do anything to him, the daughter, in a bold move, sacrificed herself, taking that blade right in herself to save her old man. This heroic act threw the whole balance of the Force into chaos. But the son wasn't about to let his plan fizzle out. He took another stab at dear old dad, quite literally. But surprise, surprise, the father had a trick up his sleeve. He grabbed that dagger and stabbed himself with it, weakening the son enough for Skywalker to finish him off. The son went out with a bang, and moments later the father followed suit, vanishing into the great cosmic unknown. With their demise, the Ones and Mortis itself went poof, disappearing in a flash of light. The Jedi were left scratching their heads, back to square one, with no trace that the whole planet and its cosmic inhabitants had ever existed. Talk about a wild cosmic cleanup. In 44 ABY, after the Battle of Yavin, Grandmaster Luke Skywalker had a moment of realization. He connected the dots and realized that his dear old dad's decision to pass up the gig of becoming the new keeper of the balance had kicked off an absolute cosmic disaster. See, after the Ones bit the dust, the galaxy basically turned into a hot mess. Wars, conflicts, and chaos had been popping up left and right for the past 65 years, and with the Ones out of the picture, Abeloth, the Queen of Chaos, had free reign to keep on wrecking the universe. So after Luke managed to put Abeloth in her place, he had an epiphany. He figured it was time for a change. The Jedi and the Sith, sworn enemies for eons, had to step up and become the new cosmic referees, the new ones. They had to take charge and keep that cosmic force balance in check all by themselves. A real passing the torch moment, if you will.
There is no going back.
Father.
Marvelous verdict. So there you have it, fellow Star Wars fans. Our investigation into the intriguing and enigmatic entities known as the Ones, the actual human representatives of the Celestial Force, has concluded. We've seen a cosmic story unfold from their beginnings as the Celestials, who were capable of modifying space on a galactic scale, to their transition into the father, daughter, and son. Their familial relationships, feuds, and the birth of Abeloth, the bringer of chaos, all added to the Star Wars lore's complexity. As we've learned more about the One's story, it's apparent that they were critical to maintaining the equilibrium of the Force, and their demise had far-reaching effects for the galaxy. The understanding reached by Grandmaster Luke Skywalker that the Jedi and Sith have to take up the mantle of the Ones is a thought-provoking conclusion. The tale of the Ones is a tribute to the richness and depth of Star Wars, reminding us that the conflict between good and evil, harmony and chaos, is a timeless and eternal subject even in a galaxy far, far away. Thank you for coming along on this cosmic journey with us, and may the Force be with you. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks for watching and see you soon.